Recording in progress.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope I'm audible and everyone could see my screen here. Am I audible and you could see my screen, guys, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's nice. Okay, so where are we, guys? What are we discussing? I think in the last class, we were looking into how do we insert the data into the MongoDB, right? Through programmatically. So when we are going with the sign up, or else like when the user is a new user, when he is logging into the machine, he might not be having the credentials, and in order to add the credentials, we don't give an option for him to directly go into the database and put the credentials. Instead, we will be creating a page where we where we are going to uh, read the user data, the sign up data, and we are going to store the data into the DB. So yesterday we have seen some disadvantages what we have when we directly store the data. Okay, so let me open the Mongo Compass. So we were talking about the security part, right? So for example, yes, as an end user, I might not be having an option to see the list of all the data, what is being stored under the database. But being a database administrator from the organization end, so they might be having an option directly to see the data. Okay, say for example, if I am the database administrator at the company organization level, so I simply go for account details and I could see who is the user and what is his password, which has been given here. Okay, so to avoid such things, what actually we need to do is, even though you have an access for the you have an access for this database, still you couldn't able to understand what actually user has given. So that type of mechanism we need to implement. So in order to do that, what we need to do is, whatever the password we are giving, instead of storing the password directly, we need to implement the concept of encryption or decryption concept. Okay, so what do you mean by encryption? Encryption is very simple. Okay, just for naming terminology, people think that, okay, it is a complex part, but it is really simple, guys, if you understand that. So what is the concept of encryption here? Take any data, add some modifications to the data so that a normal person couldn't able to understand that. Okay, take any piece of information and you add something to the data so that like normal person, they read it, but still they couldn't able to understand. And you write some algorithm in such a way, whatever the converted data, you follow the same steps in a reverse engineering, you should able to see the data what you have passed. Okay, let us take a simple example. Assume there are two persons who are actually interacting through the through a mail system. Okay, through a mail system, I'm just mentioning that, okay, boss, I asked for the person, like, okay, boss, what is the country we are going to visit now? He said, like, okay, INDIA, India is the country what we are going to visit. Now, if I pass this data through the network, anyone can hack the data and they can see that, okay, India is the country what they are traveling now. Now, instead of this, what I want to do is, I want to pass the data, but at the same time, if hackers or like the mediator persons, if they could able to hack the data, still they couldn't able to understand what we are passing. Now, what I'm going to do, when I'm going to pass the data to the user, I say, for example, some number, I say N, I say D, A, something, this is the one what I'm passing. What I'm going to do is, instead of passing directly India, I'm going to pass this data for the sender. Now, the guy who is going to hack this part, he might not be understanding what actually this is. But at the same time, you may ask me a question, receiver also doesn't understand this, right? What is this country? Now, I will give an algorithm for him. There is a program which is being written. What that program will do is, it will automatically remove all the numbers from the information what you have given. Now he should able to see India as a value. Got it? So this concept, we call it as a encryption. This concept at line number 10, we call it as a decryption. But yes, you may ask me a question, boss, this is so simple, right? There are some numbers which need to be repeated. That is where your encryption algorithm to be strong. You have to add a strong algorithm of encryption so that no one could able to decrypt it. Okay, only your algorithm, what you write, that is what it should able to decrypt it, but no one should able to decrypt this data, what you have encrypted. So this concept, we call it as a encryption or decryption concept. Okay, the main intention of this guy is we still have the data. People can still access the data or people can still hack the data. They hack the data, but at the same time, they couldn't able to understand what the data is for. Are we clear? Are we clear on this? What actually encryption and decryption means, guys? Everyone? Okay. So how do we implement? Like what I want to do is when the user is giving the password here, see password hello12 is the one what the user has given. I don't want to take this password as it is. I want to encrypt this data and I want to store into the database. So how do I do that? So in order to do this encryption process, what actually we have is we have lot of NP. I mean, we can, if you say that, boss, I have my own mechanism, you can simply go for that. But there are some predefined node modules who can help us. They have already written some strong algorithms so that they could able, I mean, they can take that our data and strongly they could able to encrypt the data. So among that, bcrypt is one of the node module. So bcrypt is one of the predefined node module. Is this is the one bcrypt? Yes. So if you see, bcrypt is one of the predefined node module, guys. As I already said you, whenever you are going with the node module, the predefined node module, you need to see this. Okay, what are the weekly downloads? See, weekly almost like 9 lakhs people are actually using this guy. Okay. At the same time, since before 8 months only, they have released the latest update on this. So like this, there are like a lot of people who are working on this. So with this popularity, you should able to understand whether it is fine to use it or not. Okay, because as we know, these node modules are not the one which is published by the organization. If you see, MongoDB is one of the predefined node module which is directly been published by the Node.js only. But on the top, there are a lot of node modules which are available in the npm.js, which are being published by external users. Okay, anyone if you are expertise on it, you can simply publish it so that people can make use of it. Okay, so among it, node.bcrypt.js is one of the predefined node module. You can make use of this guy in order to implement the encryption or decryption process. Okay, let us see step by step process, guys. So the first step is I need to install bcrypt node module. And we already know once we are installing this guy, we need to add an entry in the package.json also, right? I say npm install bcrypt space hyphen save. So this save will add an entry of this bcrypt node module under the package.json. Now, if you click on enter, it will install. At the same time, let's have a look on this package.json. Why this guy? Okay, so if you see here, these all are the external node modules what we depended on. And now this bcrypt also has to be updated. Okay, so this is how the bcrypt node module got installed. The reason why we are adding into the package.json is anyone who takes our package, they should able to know that list of all the node modules what we all are depending on. They can't go to each and every file and they can't say that, boss, this is the node module they have used. Now I need to install that. We don't want to give that pain. Instead, they simply say npm install. Automatically, it will go to the package.json and it will download all the dependencies whatever we have mentioned here. Okay. Fine. So this is what the bcrypt node module got installed. Now, what is the other way? What is other task we need to do here? Let us go into our web service, which is called as add new user.js. Now, if you see here, when I'm going to add the data, this is what the request.body, what we are passing. The request.body directly we are passing, so that that will be directly being added to the Mongo database. But I don't want to directly send the data what a user has sent to me. I say where user data, okay, is equal to a or else instead of JSON object, I say request dot body. Under this, now we have the account ID and the account password. Now I need to encrypt that account ID and password. Now I need to pass the data to this getDB connection part. Okay, so how we are going to do? Let's have a look on this. So he has given all the steps here, guys. What all the ways you have to implement it. So he has said like the very first step is, boss, you need to take the bcrypt reference of the node module. Now I say where bcrypt equal to require bcrypt. Okay, on the top he is mentioning the number of salt rounds. Okay, I will talk about this, what actually the salt rounds are. I copy this guy and I'm going to paste this. At the same time, he is given another option, like what is our plain text. He has taken one sample plain password. Okay, so I will also take this. I mean, you can take anything. In our case, it was India, right? India is the one message what we have taken. Now, in his case, this is the password what he has. Now he want to encrypt it. And in order to do this, let us see what all things he has done. So there are multiple techniques he has. One is the technique 1 and technique 2. Under the technique 1, he is doing the hashing and all. So let me go with the technique 2. What actually he's saying is bcrypt dot hash. Under that, you need to specify what is the password you want to encrypt and tell me how many salt rounds I need to follow. And he is going to give a callback function with the hash code, which is your encrypted password. Let us see whether it is happening or not. Now I go for bcrypt dot hash. Okay, what is my plain text password? This is the plain text password. As I said, it could be anything. I can simply say some hello. I say hello 1 2 3 4 5 6. Anything you can mention here. Okay, this password will be encrypted by specifying the number of salt rounds. Now you should be able to see the response. Say something called as console.log hash. Okay, I want hash is the one which is, or else instead of hash, you can even say that encrypted password. Okay, we will get the response as encrypted password. We already know Node.js is going to follow a different syntax for whenever it is going to perform a job, right? The first parameter, the first parameter is always a error. The second parameter is the success response, what they get. Okay. Okay, now the next part what we have is, let us see whether we are getting this encrypted password or not. And after we get this encrypted password, then you go with the DB connection. Okay, so let us see this guy. I say npm start localhost. I go with the sign up, right? Okay, I say user underscore sample 123 password hello 12 password hello 12. I say hello@gmail.com. Captcha. Why the captcha is not coming? A6PPDS. Once I click on sign up, user got signed up successfully. Now you go into the database, sorry, in the server. Now you should be able to see that this is how the password is getting generated. See, I have given hello 123 and they have encrypted this in this format. Now you tell me, earlier I just mentioned it as India. I just added this numbers in between. Now I say hello 12 this is the message what I have mentioned, but in return, this is the message what I got encrypted to. You tell me, is any chance you can tell, is this message is, I mean, you could able to decrypt this to hello 12? Obviously, this is where the toughness or this is where the complexity of your encryption algorithm is. So your encryption algorithm should be too much complex so that decryption will not be a straightforward, or it will take some bit time. Not time, in fact, like they couldn't able to find out the steps. Okay, it should not be the case like, okay, boss, I can take some 1 day, 2 day, and I can able to decrypt it. Then it should not be the case. That is where again the weakness of your encryption algorithm is there. So in general, when you go to the real time, guys, people don't go with the predefined encryption modules, because when I'm going with the predefined, obviously, for example, right now we are using the bcrypt node module. Assume like there are some set of people who is working on the bcrypt node module, and I'm working in one of the bank. Under the bank, I use the bcrypt node module in order to encrypt the data. Now someone go and directly talk to the people who is working on the bcrypt algorithm. So they are the one who has worked on it. So now there is an option that they may leak the algorithm steps what they have done. That is the reason in most of the cases, we generally don't depend upon the external node modules in order to implement this encryption or decryption process. They generally have a specific team who actually works on this. They come up with the unique algorithms. But anyway, in our case, assume like there is an algorithm, and this is how you're actually encrypting the data. Okay. So now the question is, yes, we could able to give this actual password. This is the password what we have, and we could able to decrypt it. Sorry, we could able to encrypt it with the data, whatever we wanted. That is fine. Now the next question is, what do you mean by this salt rounds? Salt rounds is the number of rounds, how many times you want to implement the algorithm. So what does this mean is, for example, India is there. One time I have implemented the algorithm. Obviously, I have just mentioned as two numbers in here. For example, if I say that, boss, you take 2 rounds to encrypt it. Now I take this as an input and I want to encrypt another time algorithm. Another time I want to put this encryption process. Say, for example, uh, B, C, D, something like this. Now, if I say third time you need to do the encryption here. So I'm just increasing the complexity of this algorithm. Yeah, sorry guys. Okay, so when I say the salt rounds, which indicates that how many rounds, I mean, in how many times I need to do the encryption. Obviously, if, say for example, I am taking an item. I asked you, boss, do some packing of it. This is a very valuable item, do some packing. Now they have kept that guy into one of the box, they have added the packing. Now to add some more strongness to that packing, if I say that, okay, add another packing on the top of it. Now existing package, you take it into another big box, now you do the packing again take that box, again put into the different box, now you do the packing. So it's like the number of rounds what you increase, the number of complexity also it increases. And it doesn't mean that now then you may put a question, okay boss, if that is the case, why don't you go with the salt rounds equal to 100 or 1000? Unnecessary it is. Why so? Because the number of salt rounds what you mentioned to encrypt it, in order to decrypt also, it is going to take the same number of iterations. Then it will be very hard for you to decrypt. I mean, it may take some time to decrypt the algorithm, I mean, decrypt the password. That is the reason, like minimum value you need to give. So in general, people go with 10 times. Okay, it's not mandatory. As I said, you can give whatever the number of rounds. In general, we go with the 10, which increases the more complexity for the algorithm. Okay. So any questions up to this, guys? So one thing what we are doing is, whatever the message we have, we could able to encrypt that guy. But my expectation is, I don't want to take this password I'm not interested with. My interest is, I want to do the encryption for request user data. I say user data dot password. This is the data which I want to encrypt. Okay. And when I say user data dot password, this is the password what I will get. And this password, I will again put it into this guy. I say user data dot password is equal to whatever this encrypted password we have. That is what I'm adding. And you pass this user data to the MongoDB. That's it. Okay. Earlier, I was taking a hard coded value, some hello 123. Now what I'm saying is take the user data object under that whatever the password, which is the password being given by the user. Okay. Now once we get this password, I am passing that guy to this bcrypt.hash and he is returning me the encrypted password. That password I'm assigning back to the user data dot password. Now I'm going to send this to the server. Now, if you save this guy, now when I come back, I restart my system. Okay, go back to the application. Now, once I reload this guy, I go with login. Let me delete the existing records. Okay, now I say, yeah, I need to go from here. Now I say sign up. I say something called as user underscore Prasad password. Say something called as hello 123. Oh, sorry. Hello 123. I give the password hello 123. Email ID prasad@gmail.com. Why my capture not loading on load of the page? XS8OKN. Now I go with something called as sign up. You see, user got signed up successfully. Go to the database. You find the new data. Why I'm hitting twice here? There is something missing on the sign up, guys. Oh my god, these many number of times it is hitting it. Why so? When I'm going into the UI, did we do anything from the UI? Go to the network tab. Once I go with the sign up, okay, sign up payload is going like empty. Okay, for example, if I say user underscore testing hello 123 password some junk value. I click on sign up. There is one request which is going. I'm taking this. Okay. But now when I go to the DB, you see there are two requests which are coming here. Why so? Why there are two requests which is happening? Okay, I will see that what actually this is. But unnecessarily junk data is getting added here. Okay, say for example, let us test this guy. I will come back to that. What is the reason? Now, if you see, when I say user underscore Prasad, you see, for example, I'm a database administrator I am ready to, I have an access to the complete database. Now what I will do, I will come to this account ID user underscore Prasad, and the password is completely there. But do you think I could able to understand this? Obviously no, isn't it? So here I have the password to read it, but it is in an encrypted format. That is how, even though I have an access for the particular database, still I couldn't able to understand what user has given. Okay, that is good. Now you come back to the login page. Okay, I go to the login. I say user underscore say some Prasad. Password is hello 12123 I gave, right? OLXAVI. Okay. Now when I say something called as login, you should, what is this? I say PKGY3Y. Now once I say something called as login, you see user credentials response what we got is nothing. Haven't we written anything for invalid credentials? What is this? Okay, so we got the invalid. When I say login, I say user underscore Prasad. I say QMHAIT. Now once I say login, invalid captcha PQDPDX. God. VMEBOL. Why it is invalid credentials? Yeah, actually it should not be invalid captcha. It should be something called as invalid message. Why it is coming? Go to the client side code, JavaScript, login.js. Under login.js, if the captcha is so and so, invalid.text.show. If this is not the case, we need to even remove this, right? Yeah, I think, yeah, this guy. Validate user credentials. Yeah, I think anyway on load of the page, we are hiding it. Then it is fine. But one thing is we are taking the ID password, we are posting this guy, and if the message is valid user, we are doing this. If it is invalid, invalid credentials dot show. It should not be invalid credentials dot show directly, because under the invalid credentials only we are putting this invalid captcha. Then in that case, I need to show invalid credentials dot text also I need to show, right? Invalid credentials dot text should be invalid credentials. Okay, so reload this guy. I go for login. I say user underscore Prasad. I say hello 12. Captcha is 5ZMMWX. Once I click on login, oh my god, M6M5TL. Once I click on login, if you see here, I'm getting it as invalid credentials. Why so? If you see the user credential service, what is the payload? Payload means the data what we are sending to the server. We are sending the server like user ID is underscore so and so, password is hello 12. Whereas the response what we got under the preview, you should able to see that it is coming as invalid. Now my question is, we just registered the user with user underscore Prasad and hello12 is the password what I have given. So why the reason it is saying like invalid? The reason is, let us go with how you are checking the credentials. Now you go to the web service server side, you see validate credential.js. So under this validation credential.js, what actually we are giving in order to check with this account details, what we are giving, we are asking the DB to find out whether this is the account ID and this is the password, whether it is existing within the DB or not. Earlier, that password was hello12 directly. That is the reason database was having the data. But right now, password 12 hello12 is not existing, right? It is being encrypted. Then how can I check that? Obviously, it is looking for the exact ID and password, but it is not existing in the database. That is the reason it is not returning. Then how do I check the password with the encrypted data? Okay, so there are multiple ways wise in order to do the decryption, right? Like there are algorithms. What actually they do is, boss, you give me the text, I will do the encryption. Now they generally don't provide an option of, okay, boss, I give this message to you. Can you give me returning as hello12? I don't give it. Okay, due to security issues, what they will say is, we never give you an option of or decrypting the message and give it to you. Because say for example, I'm the database administrator. Okay, now I get to know that this is the encrypted password. Now, if I take this encrypted password, if I get to know what is the algorithm which is using this, then I simply go there and I start making use of, I just give this password and it will give it decryption option, right? That is the reason, in general, most of the algorithm doesn't provide an option to go with the, I mean, doesn't provide an option of giving you the decrypted algorithm or decrypted password. Then how is the way? They generally do something like, okay, you give me this password, sorry, encrypted password, you give me the original password, I will tell you whether it is existing or whether it is valid or invalid. Are we clear, guys? Considering the security issues, we generally algorithms what they do is, they don't give you the, when you give the encrypted password, they don't give you the decrypted password. What they will tell you is, give me the encrypted one, give me the decrypted one. Now I will tell you whether it is valid or not. So that the security. Now, as a DB administrator, I know what is this password, encrypted part. At the same time, I know decryption algorithm also. Still, could I able to guess what actually the user password is? No. Am I clear, guys? Understanding this concept? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please. Okay, you said yes. Okay, guys, what happened to others? Hope everyone is in the class. Everyone understood this concept? Yes, no? I see the message from Srikant. Okay, everyone, right? Good. Now, let us go with this decryption algorithm also. You see, that is the concept he has given. So under this, he has, under the technique 1 and 2, he has shown like how do we encrypt it. To check the password also, he has given the same. See, bcrypt.compare. You have to tell me what is the password you have, what is the encrypted password you have. In the result, I'm going to tell you whether it is true or false. Are we clear? So bcrypt.compare is one of the predefined method which will tell you, for that guy, you have to give the actual password and the encrypted password. Then that guy will tell you whether the given password is valid or invalid. Okay. So let us go with that. Now what I will say is, I will say add new user, sorry, validation credentials, right? I'm not going to check under the DB with the password. I only say, give me the account details who is having the ID called as user ID. Now I will get this account details. Okay. Now where I'm going to get the account details under the results. Okay. Now when I save it, if you see under the results, which is empty because we are comparing with the ID and password. Okay. Now I save this guy and I restart my server. I go with this, reload the page. I go for login, user underscore password. Password is hello12 below captcha NW7B2I. Okay, I go with login. Okay, you see it is going into the login. But the problem is you go into the DB, this is what the data you got. But the problem what happened is right now I say user underscore Prasad, you give any junk password you give. When I say 4JIFEU, when I go with this login, it is still taking me to the account. Why so? Under the web service, we have written the logic like only check for the UID, not for the password. So now I need to add the logic for the password also. Now, if you see under the results, you see under the results, it is an array of value. Now, what I will say, uh, uh, I have to go with the bcrypt option once again. Okay, so what is the logic they have given? They have given like bcrypt.compare. Now, I'm going to say bcrypt.compare. What is the plain text password? The plain text password is user data dot password. This is the plain text password. What is the hash code? Under the results, result is coming like an array. So it is coming in the 0th position. Dot, come on, it got struck. 1 second, guys, system got stuck. Come on, what happened to this suddenly? Come on, man. I think I need to go with a restart here.
Recording stopped.
Just a minute, guys. Let me restart my machine and I'll come back. One second, guys. I mean, the restart is happening.
Recording in progress.
Okay, hope I'm audible back and you could see my screen, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, got it. So let us see back this guy. So yeah, so the problem what we see is like we are just checking with the UID. Now what I'm doing is under the validation credentials from the DB, I'm getting the account ID details. Now what I need to do is I'm comparing that password, whatever the password user has given, and under that there is something called as results of 0 dot password. Why, man? Whenever I'm writing this password, it is getting stuck. Okay, password. Yeah. So I can say result of 0 dot password. Now what I'm doing is whatever the data user is mentioning and whatever this result dot password, if both are equal, that is where the result is. If the result is false, if the result is equal to or result, you can simply say result because if it is true or false. Okay, if the result is there, I can simply say data dot message is equal to valid user. If this is not there, there we can say this is invalid user or invalid credentials. Okay, or else you can say invalid password. And I can put even another condition here. For example, if the result itself is empty, okay, what if results dot length is equal to 0? In that case, what is going to happen? I say data dot msg is equal to invalid user id. I mean, user id itself is invalid. That is what I can mention. Okay, so I take out this object on the top. Okay, so if it is a valid data, then I can simply go for this response dot send data. Simple. Okay, so let us see whether it is happening or not. Now when I save this, I don't need to restart any server. Oh yeah, I have done the changes on the server side. Then I need to restart because client guy doesn't know anything about this encryption decryption. He never knows like what algorithm they are using and all. He simply passed the ID password. I just need to say whether it is valid or invalid. That's it. I reload the page. I go for login. I say user ID, user underscore Prasad. Password is say some hello12 and the captcha is JP9MY9. Once I go with this login, what is happening? Inspect this. Go for network. Once I click on login, user credentials is pending. Implies some issue here. It says bcrypt is not defined. Obviously, I need to create a reference for the bcrypt node module, right? Where bcrypt is equal to require bcrypt. Okay. I restart my server. I go with something called as login now. I say invalid password. Is it is hello123 I gave? Okay, when I say hello123, I go with login. Yeah, it is going. See, when I'm giving wrong password, it is not taking me to the next page. But if I give the correct password, it is taking me to the next page. This is how I could able to store the user data in a secured format under the DB. Either it is in the DB or under the session, whatever it is recommended to encrypt the data and store it instead of directly storing the data. Now, being a database administrator, if I see the password what you give, which is in encrypted format, even though I have the access for the decrypt option, the decrypt option, still I couldn't able to decrypt your password. Okay. Yeah, come on, guys. Any questions? Let me know. Is everyone good up to this? You have an option of unmuting yourself. If you want, you can unmute yourself and you can talk. Understood, everyone? The decrypt option. Okay, that's nice. Now, the next part, what we have is, let us go to this product details, guys. Okay. And one more thing, someone asking about the sessions, like how do we implement this timeout in case of session is not available under IRCTC we have. Actually, right now, we haven't yet implemented the sessions concept. You see, when I'm going to reload the page, I've been taken back to the login again. So this should not be the case, guys. I mean, I should able to, once I have already logged in, if I reload the page, I should able to load the product details page directly. Why you are loading this login page again? Because we haven't yet implemented the sessions concept. Okay, maybe tomorrow I'm going to take the sessions concept there. But before that, 1 second, ask me later. Okay, now the next part what we have here is product details. Let us go with the product details, guys. What is the web service? We are going with the get product details, and you see this is how we have hard coded the product details. But instead of hard coding this product details, shall I keep it under the database and retrieve the data? We can do that, right? I can put this data into the database and I can retrieve the data here. So let us see how you're going to put this data into the database, guys. So let me take out this array. Okay, I'm going to create a simple JSON file. I'll go with say some new folder data. Just for temporary purpose, I'm giving guys. I say product JSON. Okay, and if it is a JSON, it has to be strict JSON. Find single columns and replace with double columns. Place all. And this name. Replace. Okay, so this is how I added this JSON. Okay. At the same time, I would like to give one product ID for this. So this ID will really help us in what do you say? Uh, while adding an item to the carts. Okay. I say product ID. You can even go with underscore ID, which is a common thing we have. I mean, which is the unique key, which is maintained by the MongoDB. Okay. Okay, so I have added the product details for every product. Okay, Srikanth, you have a question. Without registration, okay, first of all, Sriram, can we decrypt the password? In that case, you need to go with a different algorithm, Sriram. Right now, we are depending upon the bcrypt node module in order to encrypt the password. Bcrypt is not providing an option to decrypt it. Okay, that algorithm has been written in such a way that due to security issues, I don't provide an option of decrypting it. Okay, if you say that no, boss, I need an option. I need an option that where I have after decrypting again, after encrypting again, I want to decrypt it. Then you need to depend upon a different algorithm, not the bcrypt one. Okay. Srikanth, without registration of user store the user credentials in DB with encryption, and when user required, it will access for an EMP admin. Without registration of users, store the user credentials in the DB. Okay, with encryption, and when user required, it will access for an EMP admin. Srikanth, are you giving the definition or you are asking the question? Sorry, I was not clear on it. Srikanth, I was not clear with your question. Could you please repeat again? Make it more elaborate, please. Okay, so for every product, I have given the product ID. Along with this, let me give some category also, guys. Okay, which category it belongs to. Right now, it is electronics, what we give. Okay. And right now, every product is an electronics item. In future, we will even change the category also. Okay, now if you see, this is all the product data what I have. Assume I'm an Amazon employee. My requirement is seller will come with all the product data. Now I need to take this product data and need to put into my database. Now the seller has come up with the data under a JSON, something like this. Now, how do I take this data and how do I put into the database? Under the database, let me add another collection here. I say product details. Okay, create a collection. Now I have the product details collection. Now, how do I insert this guy? I go with that data. If I say insert document, now I need to say what is the product ID, what is the price, what is the category, etc. Information. I need to do it manually, which is like a very, very, very lengthy process for me. Okay, then what is the way I can do? That is where whenever you are adding the data, there is an option, something called as import a file. If you already have a file which is having all the data, we could able to directly read the data and deploy or store into the database. And that file for sure has to be either in the JSON or CSV. CSV is also same like a JSON object, guys. Okay, where it is going to have some comma separator. So either you go with a JSON file or CSV. You say like I'm going to come up with the TXT file or document or Excel. No way. For sure, it has to be either a JSON or CSV file in order to get imported into the Mongo database. Now I would like to have some product data under this product details, and the data is already existing in the file. Now I'll say add data, import a file, select the file where actually the file is. The file is under latest trend. Under data, I selected this product data, click on open. Now, if I simply say import, it has imported 5 documents. Okay, let us see whether it is imported or not. See, this is all the product data, whatever we give. So now we are not taking pain of going and inserting with individual product details. But again, on the top, if you ask me a question, what if like I want to do the changes? What if like I want to add in very new product? Because not every time people come up with a JSON object with all the list of product data, right? But they are going to add the new product. For example, I have one product now. Now I want to upload all the product details to this. So for that, you need to create a new upload screen or new adding product page. Based on that, you're going to add the details that we are going to cover in the tomorrow's class. Okay. So right now we have this latest product details and one more thing. Can we use fake store API? We can use Sriram, but like who will go with the fake store API? Fake store API is the API. For example, we are creating one sample POCs, and the sample POC needs some data. We are going for that. But right now, you are reading, or we are into the server side development. We ourselves are learning how to create the APIs. Now, if you say instead of creating my own, if I depend upon the third party or free APIs, so then where is your learning? So for sure, you need to see what actually happening. So fake store API code also has been written in such a way that they are going to read the data from the database, showing to you. So those all things we manually need to do, right? Maybe at the time of learning time, while you're learning the UI, at that time we don't have an idea of server side. Yes, we can go with the fake APIs, which will return this data. But right now we are into the job of creating our own APIs. Am I clear, Srina? Okay, so now the next part is I have the collection ready, which is having the data. Now what I want to do is, this is the get product details web service, which is returning me the hard coded data. I don't want to go with this hard coding. Okay, I don't want to go with this hard coding. Instead, I would like to go with a list of, I want to create a connection to the Mongo database. From the Mongo database, I would like to read the data. So how I'm going to do that? So let us say where, again, we know that, right? How you're going to create a MongoDB request. I say where, say some Mongo client is equal to require MongoDB. Okay, and where I say Mongo client, I need to create an instance of this new Mongo client of, we need to specify the database URL. So how you're going to store the database URL here? Okay, so I go with this new Mongo client. Okay, let me copy the one which we have already covered. I say Mongo client, paste this guy, and I need to go with this get DB connection. Okay, and get DB connection, we are connecting to latest trends, but this is not the collection name. What is our collection name? It is product details. Okay, so I'm making it as product details. And what is the query or what is the command you want to work? It is not insertion. We are saying something called as find. And what all you're finding? I want every other data. Okay, I want every other data. using the find. Now I say dot to array. Okay, it will return it will return this array. I simply say return results. Okay, so I'm finding the data from the array and I'm going to return the result, and that result will be coming with this, not the user data, it is product data. Okay, right now I'm not passing any data to the database. In future we will see how we specify that I want the list of items only from the particular category, that we are going to see. Right now I'm not passing any data for the DB connection. He's simply connecting to this database, creating a request on the collection called as product details, and I'm finding everything. If I give you an empty object which is indicating that give me everything what all you have under the collection, and I'm converting that into array that I'm going to return back to you. Now I say response.send json.stringify. Okay, now I don't want to give all this. I simply say this product data is going to be an object, and whatever the product data you have, product data, come on, product data is equal to, I'll say p data, and whatever the data you receive, you convert that and make it as JSON object, JSON stringify, save it. Okay, so this is what the product details guy is doing. Earlier he was hard coding. He's returning us the data which is hard coded, but now we are connecting to the database. We are going to the collection called as product details. That is what we are receiving. Now let us see whether it is working or not. I restart my server. Okay, I go with login. I say user underscore Prasad password. And one more thing, guys, can we implement the remember my ID password option also? We have already done with this local storage session storage concept. Okay, if anyone want to volunteer for adding this concept of remember my ID password, let me know. I will help you in guiding you on it. Okay, let me know anyone want to work on that. In fact, like we have done that example also for remembering ID and password. Okay, I say hello 123. Now I say RRE8WZ. Okay, let us see how the network call is also going. When I go with the network, I go for login. Login credentials is done, and later product details request also been went. Okay, I got the response something like this. Response is array. Preview like this. Then what is the problem? Why the data is not coming? I go with the client side code, load product data. We are hitting this. Okay, if you see here, we are expecting response.data, but right now it is not response.data. Directly, the response itself is array of data. You see, response itself is array of data, right? So again, we need to do the changes on the client side code according to the response what we are getting from the server. Okay, server guy has modified. Earlier, server guy was sending the data in the key called as data, but right now it is directly coming the data. So we just need to make use of it. Now I go with, as I did the changes only on the client side, no need to restart my server. I go with this login, user underscore Prasad, password is hello123 captcha 9JW. Now once I click on login, still I'm not getting the product data. Why so? Let us see what actually we are receiving here. Okay, so what is the response we received? The response is, okay, response is one single data. Okay, dot data I have, not the data dot data. It is response dot data, and this guy also should be dot data. Okay, I don't need to restart it. Now, if I reload the page, I go with the login. I go with user underscore Prasad. Password is hello 123 ALRDO2. Now, once I click on login, you see this is how the product data is coming. Now, is this data is hard coded? No, boss. It is coming from the database. Okay, this is how simple we can retrieve the data from the database. But again, the next topics what we are pending in the product data is how you're going to add an item into the cart. At the same time, how you're going to uh, upload the new product details. Right now you have hard coded product details, you are just loading in the DB. But what if I want to create a page where user want to upload the product data, at the same time uploading the images? So that concept I'll be covering in the tomorrow session. After completing the sessions concept, then I'm going to show you how do you upload your own product data also. Okay, so let us pause it for today, guys. Before that, if you have any questions. Okay, Saroj, sir, I'm facing issue on Node.js. Could you please take control of my system, fix the end? Yeah, sure, Saroj. You want me to give in access? Okay, guys, I'm done with the topics for today. You can leave if you don't have any questions. Let me fix the Saroj issue, then I will go. Saroj, I'm making you as a co-host. Please go ahead and sharing your screen. Saroj, could you hear me? If there is any chance you can speak out, it will be easy for us to communicate. Okay, I can see your screen. So what is the issue you see?
Sir, I'm facing a issue on Node.js, sir.
Okay. Yeah, tell me, can you show me what is the issue you're facing?
Sir, I've created the web service, but it showing some error.
Okay, yeah, show me that. What is the web service you have created? Just show me what is the error. I think you messaged me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Yeah, you just show me the on the screen which web service and what is the error you're getting.
So this is the there is a creates
Under routes folder, right? You need to look into. First of all, you can start your server.
yes,
You
sir.
can.
This. So here, sir. So this is the problem.
Okay, while starting, it is saying that cannot find module routes validate router. Okay, can you open your app.js?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you expand this, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what it is saying is
1 minute. Sir.
at line number 10, you are trying to point out a router, call it as validate router,
Yes, sir.
and you want to identify that.
Yes.
Okay, so you are mentioning that there is a JavaScript file validate router under the routes folder.
Yes.
Okay, can you please check under the routes folder? Do you have that validate router file? Under the routes folder, you see it is validate user credentials.js. So you should have the same name, right? You have to put the name as validate user credentials. You can remove, go back there, remove that validate router. Under, okay, remove that validator. No. Yeah, only that after slash you remove it. It will automatically prompt for you. Okay. Okay. Now you write V. No, not V. It is user credentials, right? Yeah. Now you say U, or else remove that slash also. Okay. Now you say slash. Okay. You see, it is showing it. Validate user credentials. Now you click on this. Remove the .js. I think you are using the older version of it, Saroj. If possible, try to update your VS Code. Yeah. Now you save it out and see whether it is working or not. No, your command prompt is already open, right? You can
Yes.
directly go there and restart it. Just say Control C. Okay, it's already stopped. Okay, just say npm start.
Again,
Okay. Now it is saying that cannot find module validate user credentials. How come, man? Okay. Can you open your validate user credential.js file? Okay, 1 second. Why it is .js? It should not be .js. Can you go back? Okay, you see index is also JS file, but the name is not .js. Rename that guy, remove the .js. Yes, it is a JS file. Yeah, now you try to run in command prompt.
Yes, sir.
It is working. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
If you have anything, let me know. Yeah. Bye. Good. Bye for everyone, guys.